If you're thinking about moving to Nashville and you're not sure where to start, especially if you're coming from out of state, it can feel pretty daunting. There's a lot to think about: timing your move, learning the neighborhoods, figuring out what areas might fit your lifestyle best. So in this video, I want to give you some pro tip recommendations in order that we've learned after helping over 1,000 people relocate in the Nashville area. The goal is simple: take the stress out of your move and help you make smart decisions along the way. And if you follow this process, you're going to find that relocating here becomes a lot more manageable. For those of you who are new here, my name is Clay. My partner Tucker, our team, and I help people relocate to the Nashville area every single week. A big part of our business is working with out-of-state buyers. So we've seen what works, what causes stress, and what can make a move go smoothly. Let's start with step number 1. Assess your current situation. The very first thing we want to do is assess kind of what's going on currently with you. And we're going to ask you a few things like, do you need to sell a home where you currently are before you buy in Nashville? Or are you trying to buy and sell at the same time? Or can you buy here without selling your current home first? This distinction shapes everything about the strategy. It affects timing, negotiation power, how aggressive you can be when you find a home that you love, and honestly, how stressful the process might be. For example, if somebody is able to buy here without selling first, they usually have a lot more flexibility. But if someone needs to sell first, we want to plan that timing carefully so when the right house pops up, you're ready. Sometimes that means listing your current home early. Sometimes that means coordinating closings a special way. And sometimes it means exploring bridge financing or other creative financing options. But one step is always the same: understanding your starting point, because that determines the roadmap. Next, how familiar are you with Nashville? This is like a big deal because some people have been here a lot and some people have never been here. You may have been here dozens of times, and that's helpful information because you may already know you want to be in Brentwood or in Franklin or another suburb. But if you've never been here before, then it's a whole different approach. So that's a relevant fact that we'll want to talk about in this process. Because if you're new to the area, we often recommend you do a couple of fact-finding discovery trips to explore and get familiar with the town. Why is that? Well, because Nashville is a very neighborhood-driven city. Two areas that are 20 minutes apart can feel totally different in terms of lifestyle. You may have urban walkable areas or historic towns like Franklin, or quiet suburban suburbs, or lake communities, or rural acreage properties. We have it all here. So until you drive around and really feel out the different areas, it may be hard to know what truly fits. We've seen numerous clients think they want one thing and then they get here and see the other options, and then it just totally changes as to what they end up in. So you need some time to explore. All right, pro tips while you're visiting Nashville. When people come to town to explore the area, there's a few personal things I would always recommend you do, okay? Pro tip number 1, Franklin Factory Time. One of my favorites is what I jokingly call Franklin Factory Time. So the factory is a place in Franklin. It's a beautiful old renovated building that's been turned into a really cool gathering place with restaurants and a bar. And you can stroll around, you get Jenny's ice cream, you can do a pottery painting session with the kids. It's just a really cool environment. You got to check it out if you're anywhere in town. It'll help you understand the character, and it's really close to downtown Franklin as well. All right, second place on my list that you want to check out that's new and it's super exciting. It's called the Neuhoff District. It's downtown Nashville on the river, and it's a really old spot that they have kept a lot of the old features, and it's adaptive reuse and some new construction. Outdoor padel courts, beer gardens, restaurants, walkable spaces along the water. It's a super cool place just to loiter around or hang out or get dinner or sushi or drinks. Third pro tip I would say would be downtown Nashville. You got to go out in downtown Nashville and hear some live music and just take in that whole scene. As a local, you're probably not going to go down there all the time, but there are sporting events and concerts, and it's a really cool downtown. So you got to check it out while you're here. All right, the next thing that we want to do in your buying process is define your buyer box. So after you spent time exploring and getting a feel for different areas, we need to define like what's going to really work for you. And that's kind of like what's non-negotiable, what are your hard and fast, I got to have 4 bedrooms, or I got to have 3,000 feet, or I got to have newer than 2015 construction, or I have to have a 1 acre minimum. Any of these kind of things that are like your box, we really need to know, because this will help us narrow down what's going to work for you. We're also going to need to know your price price range, size, condition, that kind of stuff, architectural style, walkability factors, neighborhood amenities, all that stuff is really important to us as we can help narrow down what's going to work for you. So instead of looking everywhere, we can focus on specific neighborhoods and certain types of homes. And this is going to dramatically reduce the stress. All right, the last piece of the puzzle that people often don't think about when relocating is the seller situation. When you find a house you love, we're always asking questions like, is the home vacant? Is the seller still living there? Do they need a specific timeline? Do they need extra time after closing to move out? These are all things that really make a difference. Other times, speed matters. Whoever can close sooner is going to get an advantage when negotiating with some sellers. So our job and our duty is help align your expectations and try to see if there's a win-win with the seller out there. So if you're thinking about moving to Nashville and relocating, there's a few first steps. First, understand your current situation. Second, get very familiar with the area. Third, spend time exploring and experiencing the city. Fourth, is define that buyer box. And finally, we want to structure your offer strategically when the right house appears. If you follow that path, relocating here becomes a lot more manageable and less stressful. Again, my name is Clay, my partner Tucker and the team and we talk to people every single day about moving to Nashville, and we love it. Our goal is just to help you connect all the dots and make the right move. So until next time, hope to show you around town.